good morning, or perhaps good evening. And welcome to another episode of the Anime Lounge podcast. I'm your host, Lance, alongside with my other host, Matt. Every episode, we like to start off with an adult beverage of choice. Today, I will be drinking some of Matt's personal stock of Journeyman's Distillery Featherbone whiskey, and it is delicious. Thank you, Matt.
You're welcome.
And, of course, we got that with our new Glarus Spotted Cow. What about you, Matt?
I am drinking some E.H. Taylor because it's been a minute since I've actually drank it. And I kind of want to celebrate because this is a little behind the curtain. Going to be our last recording before our much anticipated convention. I've been looking forward to this for a while.
Yes. So by the time this episode comes out, we will have already been there.
Yes.
Us from the past. I'm telling you, we probably had a very good time.
Will have had a fun time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because we record in advance just so that we have something in stock. And yeah, that's how things work around here.
Yeah, absolutely. It would be very difficult to watch an entire season, read the manga corresponding to it, edit, and record the day before and launch. That I feel like that's asking a lot.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Between the two of us, that's way too much work.
Especially because we have real jobs and can't just, unfortunately, spend all of our time doing this.
Yeah, right? But that's okay.
Absolutely.
But we're here for one reason, and that's to talk about the title of this episode. Matt, what is the title of this episode?
So today we are going to be talking about Spy Family Code White. And to give a little bit of a synopsis for this, we find out that Lloyd, aka Twilight, has been reassigned. And at the same time, Anya is learning that she has an opportunity to get a Stella Star. And that opportunity is a bake-off. Lloyd takes this opportunity to take the family on a trip to Frigus, which he knows has the principal's favorite dessert, Mary Mary. During their trip, the military is attempting to break the peace between the East and the West. And of course, the awesome spy family that is breaks up that attack. That's all I got.
Good enough. We all know what this movie's all about.
It did come out in December of 23, so it's not the newest movie. We'll put it that way.
Right. We've been waiting to cover this one, and it's about time that we did, and we're finally happy we get this opportunity to.
Yeah, got to do its due justice. Before we get too far, Lance, I'm very curious. What do you have for Lance's lessons today?
Today's Lance's lessons is going to be the Japanese word for police. And police is keisetsu. Keisetsu is Keiisatsu. Keisetsu is very relevant to today's episode because we're still dealing with the secret police to a small degree. Not so much Yuri, but this military grade guy that we're still working with, I'm pretty sure they mentioned a couple times that he's considered like the police of the area as well. Like I know he has the power to shut down the businesses.
You mean the villain?
Yeah.
Yep. He is the military, but they are like the secret military people.
Right.
So not quite the same as Yuri, but one step down.
Right. So yeah, Keisetsu. Also kind of just learned this in my Duolingo lessons, so kind of fitting too. So there we go.
Awesome. Thank you for that. I want to start off. What did you think of this movie?
Right off the bat, love this entire movie. From start to finish, this felt exactly like what Spy Family needed to be, always was, what you expected, and at the same time, never got let down at any point.
Yeah, you pretty much took the words out of my mouth. It was fantastic.
Yeah, this was such a great movie. And kind of with how a lot of anime have been going with quote-unquote canon, do you think that this is going to be considered canon? Even though nothing spectacular truly happened, nothing changes any kind of storylines. One of my big questions was, do you think that in season 3 that this movie can be referenced at any point whatsoever?
Maybe, but I don't think they will. Like, it could be, but I just don't think they're going to take the opportunity to, because it's like, the only way I could see them doing that is if, oh, we're going to go on another family vacation. And then you can be like, oh, yeah, I know the other family vacation that they went on.
I was going to say, I would be completely satisfied if they made one simple throwaway line that just made some reference to how they were in a blimp or how they were in a bake-off that went wrong, or just something small to just reference to this at some degree.
Yeah, I could see it. I just don't think they will.
No, it's not necessary.
No. The movie, even as a standalone, if they never want to call it canon, was very well done. Mm-hmm. So I'm perfectly fine knowing that the movie might not necessarily be canon just because of how well they did it. It was very thought out. The one-liners or the jokes, you could say the butt of the jokes, were very well done, all at opportune times. Nothing felt overdone. It was just good. I'm perfectly fine with having just a good movie if they just want to call it a movie.
Yeah. At any point, did you feel that the main villain, Colonel Snidel, he's this older, distinguished guy, and he's got the nose of Tanjiro. What were your thoughts on him at all points? Did he throw you off in any way? Was he kind of like OP? Was he anime logic? Was he right on point? What was your thoughts about him this entire time?
I mean, he only had one anime logic moment, and that was he could smell Lloyd
as soon as he walked in.
Yeah,
exactly. That's exactly why I said anime logic.
I knew exactly who you were the moment you walked in. Well, why didn't you make you knew you were getting essentially spied upon, and you made no mention of it until it mattered. So it's that was the only part that I had really? Okay. But I laughed. I was like, oh, of course.
Yeah. You saw right through him. You could smell the city on him.
Yep.
Yeah, Snidel, I accepted him for everything he was. He was a nice neutral villain that didn't seem too badass or too lame or too anything. He pulled a bunch of military grade stuff out of the blue. In this blimp. This blimp took a lot of goddamn damage. We can say that for sure.
I like the fact that at the end, it was literally just a flying metal contraption because none of the blimp was there and they were just flying it through the air. Mm-hmm. So it's like, oh, okay. Yeah, that's, I guess that's how that works. Because anybody who knows anything about blimps, it catches on fire, it explodes.
Oh, yeah? Okay. Yeah. I would be part of the crew that doesn't know much about blimps then.
So, yeah, there's actually a very large tragedy that happened, which is probably why blimp travel never took off. So it did happen, I think, almost 100 years ago now. So it's...
Makes sense. But this would be considered a war blimp to some degree. I would imagine that you can use a little bit of futuristic anime logic to...
Well... As we've talked about with, I think it was season 1, where we were trying to figure out a timeline in which this happened.
Oh, good point.
This was the 40s is about what we were thinking, some futuristic stuff in it, but mainly it's happening, quote unquote, in what would be the 40s.
Right.
So blimps were very popular. Rotary planes were very popular. So all these things make sense.
Exactly.
Spies were very popular back then. And as far as if you want to put it in that perspective, a futuristic blimp makes a lot of sense for military technology.
Mm-hmm. But the damage that this thing took, especially during, which could be arguably one of our favorite fight scenes, Type F versus Yor, and Type F just going crazy with shooting in every single direction.
I am made of bullets is that. You still have to run out at some point.
Yeah, right. You're not infinite. And he even made that comment, if you're waiting for me to run out of ammo, my body's made out of ammo. I'm
I mean, unless
to a degree.
You're holding a bunch of 22s, then maybe you have a what seems to be infinite supply. Mm-hmm. But he was throwing off rockets and a bunch of other exploding things. It was not all small arm munitions.
No.
So yeah, more anime logic, but we don't come to watch Spy Family because of anime, or it makes sense.
Right. So before we talk too much about a bunch of details, who did you come out with as a favorite character for this movie?
Oh man, I'm just gonna go with Lloyd in this one.
Okay.
As our viewers of our previous one, I am definitely a huge Yor fan, but she had some things that threw me off. We can talk about that later. I really enjoyed Lloyd in this one, doing everything he could for his family, doing what he could to keep Project Strix. Is that what they're calling it? Operation Strix, excuse me.
Right, that sounds right.
And so that was what I really liked. Him kind of having that moment where he was like, man, do I really like this family thing? And just, you felt for Lloyd. I could empathetically feel the emotions he was feeling because, I do have kids. So just everything he was doing was a lot of fun. And yeah, I really liked Lloyd. What about you?
As much as I would like to say Yor was my favorite,
yep.
She had her moments with drama, which was whatever, and she had a cool fight scene, which was great. But I kind of had to go Anya.
Okay.
Typical Anya, the little kid being super goddamn funny.
Yep.
Pulling all the LOL scenes out of everything. So gotta love Anya for this movie.
The poop god.
The poop god was very interesting. Anybody in my circle of life knows that I'm a huge poop joke fan.
Yep.
So as the first time I saw this, I died a little bit because it was so damn funny. It was so out of the blue,
yes.
So unnecessary for this entire poop god scene to even happen.
And it was like a solid 2 to 3 minutes.
Yeah, right?
It wasn't just like, and the poop god's here, and then like she just confettis everybody, which is kind of what I thought was going to happen. No, we got this whole monologue with the poop god.
Yeah. It was super funny to me because I'm a child and totally appreciated it. Totally understand why it doesn't belong, but we're also dealing with a child.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe you can throw in some fake science and like she was holding in her poop for so long and she had like a chemical reaction and she saw stuff. I don't know, making shit up.
Yeah. Let's not anime logic. It's anime logic.
Oh, for sure.
So yeah, that was so, it was intense. And I laughed. Like I said, I thought she was going to confetti the two, like, military individuals, and they were going to get so grossed out that
like with their poop?
Yeah.
Oh, that would have been so fucking... Oh, that would have been wild if she actually just started spraying the room with their poop or something.
Yeah, I was so waiting for, like, all the rainbow colors to just come out where it... So what I was expecting was that whole monologue was going to end, and then she's just kind of, like, relaxed and all those colors are just sitting behind her and just the two guys are losing their mind because they're just absolutely covered in poop. And that's what I was expecting.
It would make some sense.
Yeah.
I can totally understand why they wouldn't go that route because that could gross out the viewers.
Well, they could have just made it like a bunch of confetti and a bunch of rainbow colors and not made it look like poop, but just the two guys would be like,
if they made it colorful and they'd freaking out, that would have been a funny scene too. Instead of like a bunch of blurred out browns. And
that would be very anime though.
Yeah, it would be. I would have appreciated that because, like I said, I'm a child, but I understand why they didn't go that route. Which also brings into focus that like that God scene happened and she was about ready to go. And then she still didn't go. Yeah. I totally thought that's when it was going to happen. But obviously it didn't. Yeah,
it happened a little bit later, and I don't know why they put that there. Apparently that was just to help her feel better. I'm not entirely sure, but it was a very funny moment. Would you say that was your favorite moment? Or yeah, I guess. Was that your favorite moment, or what was your favorite moment?
My favorite moment, my biggest LOL scene was in the beginning when Anya and Lloyd were like at that carnival and they're shooting down like the teddy bears and they're there for the some bottle.
I think it was like honey or something, or it was a brown bottle.
Yeah, it was an ingredient that they were looking for. It was not the liqueur, but it was another bottle. And
was it like the orange something?
Ooh, yeah, orange syrup or something like that.
Yeah,
something like that. And Anya was all super psyched, ready to shoot down. Took aim, shot. Failed, and then Anya says, "Would have gotten them all if they weren't so fast." And then Lloyd immediately says, "They're not moving, Anya." Like in his dad tone, it was so perfect, so goddamn funny. So that was hands down my favorite scene, just because it was so simple and so funny.
Yeah. Okay, I can see that. Yeah, for me, it was probably the ending where when they come home, ask Anya, "So how'd it go?" "Oh yeah, it got canceled because the oven burned down."
Yeah, like, right. Oh that is such a perfect way to like make all of this not matter. Yeah. Because this was all for a Stella Star, which means the world to Operation Strix, and then it doesn't work out in the end.
And to Anya, and just nope, oven burned down. Couldn't do it today. It's like, right. Oh god. Okay. Yep. So now they just went on a vacation to be on a vacation, and that was perfectly acceptable.
Well, with the way this ended, we could argue that this could turn into canon because they also said that another person in the near future was gonna
The vice principal or something like that.
Was gonna host the competition, and that could still result in a Stella Star. So then technically, this could be future episode.
Yeah, they could bring it in like that. I think they had to go to the ocean. It was like some tropical place. Was the vice principals?
Yeah, they went somewhere nice.
Yeah, I love Lloyd's comment where he's just like, "Oh, I read it in the paper."
Everything's in the paper.
And just yours like, "Oh, okay, yeah, sure, that makes sense. That checks out." Mm-hmm. So I will say, I want to get this knocked out of the way right away. I did have issues with yours like whole arc of the movie.
Of the infidelity?
Yeah, the whole infidelity thing, which is super annoying because Yor is awkward enough that they could have just played in the awkwardness the entire movie and it wouldn't have been an issue. I would have taken it because that is Yor's personality normally. Mm-hmm. So why do we have to install this fake infidelity in something where it's like she knows she's not his real wife. She knows she's not Anya's real mother. Like, just put doubt in that manner instead of, oh, well, is he cheating on me with this girl that I've seen before? Because he knows who Nightfall is his assistant, and she knows that from season 2.
Ooh, does she?
Yeah, because they had the tennis match.
Oh, like at the doctor's office.
Yeah, so
they know they're coworkers in that aspect.
Yeah, they know they're coworkers in that aspect. So if he just would have been like, oh, she had to run me some paperwork or she had to tell me something about one of my patients, he could have played it off that way.
Yeah, and that could have been a very easy way to play that off too.
So it's just that was my issue. My only real issue with this series is that it just didn't make sense to Yor as the character.
Right. It felt a little forced. Yeah. It was, sure you can throw in any kind of bullshit thing that might make Yor question anything about anything. And of course it was a reason to throw in extra characters too, like the girls from The Office.
Yep.
So I can see why they'd want to introduce more. But it was probably, I would like to assume it was a lot of people's least liked part about this because it was a part of the movie that didn't feel like it fit exactly, but the movie forced it to fit.
Yeah, because they still could have had the Ferris wheel scene because Anya could have heard Yor having some doubt where she doesn't feel like she's portraying this great wife or something along those lines and still... All right, here's the romantic Ferris wheel. Yor could have had this doubt of, is she having feelings for Lloyd? All right, gets drunk off this, like, I'm going to call it spiked apple cider because that's probably similar to what it was. Mm-hmm. And then the same scene could have happened. Like, I feel like there was just better ways they could have done the exact same scenes.
Right. It was, ultimately in the end, it was whatever.
Yeah.
Forgettable. I mean, it's not forgettable. I mean, it was the whole first half of the show.
Yep.
But they needed something.
Yeah.
Kind of just give it to them.
Yeah. All in all, I had no real issues with it. I just feel like they could have done it a little bit in a different manner. While Yor's infidelity arc didn't really make sense, they tried something different. I don't think it necessarily worked, but it is what it is. Mm-hmm. All in all, the movie itself was probably one of the better standalone movies we've seen in a while, would you say?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, this was fantastic. As much as we just complained about it there, it was still a fantastic movie. And I would not want them to truly change too much anyway. Mm-mm. The way that all this even started with putting the microchip in a piece of chocolate and then Anya eating it and then having some LOL moment at the end like she never fully digested the chip itself.
Yep.
Sure, that was fun.
Which we've already seen microchips being put in food because of the penguin episode.
Oh, yeah.
So this isn't like it's a completely unique concept. This is realistic within the series itself, which is also very nice.
Yeah, which in retrospect, it would have been really shitty if Anya died for not pooping something out and it was in her teeth the entire time.
Yeah, but obviously Anya can't die, so that one's not happening. Bond being there, I just felt like they had Bond there to be Anya's like companion. He didn't think he had one moment where he told, well, I guess he was the catalyst for Anya escaping
and getting captured to begin with.
Yeah.
So he had a very important scene or part in the movie for that. To remind everybody, He saw the future, saw where the cherry liqueur was, which allowed Anya to go grab it. She essentially stole it. So that was kind of funny. I laughed about that because she just pocketed it and walked out.
Well, no, because you heard the store clerk being like, make sure you come back with your dad, or make sure your dad knows about it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Totally missed that part.
Yeah.
And then the other big part about Bond was attacking one of the bad guys and getting a part of the dude's jacket ripped. And then that was the logo or whatever of the police. And then that's what tipped off Lloyd to know that they're the ones who took Anya. Which
also was the reason why Lloyd beat up those two guys, because he knew that they captured Anya. Then I guess the last part that Bond did was he was the reason why Anya knew about the chocolate.
That too, right in the beginning.
Yeah. All in all, I highly recommend this movie. If you haven't seen it, it is very good. It's a fantastic standalone movie. Probably one of the better ones in a while, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
But that's really all we have for this episode covering the Spy Family movie Code Whites. Please make sure to check out the Animazeshow on Facebook and Instagram. Check out all the awesome anime content they have on there. Also, please make sure to check out our YouTube page where we cover our short flights, talking about the current anime season. And also, please give us a like and a review on any platform that you're listening to us on. Have a good one.
Later, guys.